Hi, my name is James Cunningham and I'm going to do an exercise today on perspective. As you see here, perspective drawing exercise. This particular one is actually a 1-point perspective. Alright, so as you can see, you're given the plan view of the image as you see it here and the position of the spectator. Now we also have the picture plane there, which is running parallel, if you like, to the front of the sculpture. And we have a ground line and vanishing points and horizon line already in place. Okay, so basically what we need to do here, it shows the plan of a water feature is shown. The height of the paving slabs are 10 millimeters thick. That means the paving slab here, the height of that is 10 millimeters thick. Make a perspective drawing of the water feature when the position of the spectator and picture plane are shown here, are in place as shown. Okay, so the horizon line, as I said, is already in place and the vanishing point on it, and we're basically asked to draw the perspective view of the model. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here, and just to review in relation to the key principles of the topic of perspective, we have our spectator here in position and we have our picture plane. Okay, so we know with all points, as we look from the spectator to any point on the model, for example, where that line joins from point to point, okay, where that crosses the picture plane, that's then where we project up, perpendicular from our picture plane up to the perspective view in order to get our points. Okay, so I'm just going to label 1 or 2 here just to show you 1, 2, 3 and 4, just to show you as we're doing it how it actually takes its shape. Okay, so essentially what we are doing, we're bringing a sight line from the spectator up to each of these points individually. Alright, now in this particular case I don't actually have to do these because the points are already on the picture plane as we see here. So what would happen here is project those straight up. Okay, so you project them straight up until they hit the ground line. Okay, should be going slightly higher with those actually, just to allow for the depth of the paving slab. Okay, so now we have here point 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do with that, we're told that each of the paving slabs are 10 millimeters thick. So I'm just going to measure up my height of 10 millimeters and I'm going to draw that line across. Okay, so that's giving us the height basically of those slabs. And I'm going to draw them in that bit heavier just to show you where the front edge of those slabs and how they appear. So the next step is basically to bring each of those points back to our vanishing point. As it's a 1-point perspective, they're only going back to one vanishing point rather than vanishing point 1 and 2. So I'm going to join, as you're going to see it here, I'm going to join the relevant points back to that just to keep the lines to a minimum on the page. And of course these are all construction lines as of yet because we don't yet know where the back of the model finishes. Alright, so straight away that kind of gives us a better picture of the perspective view as they appear to run back into the vanishing point. Alright, so the next task for me is basically to locate the back corners on this. So we don't know how far it goes back, so I want to locate the back corners, for example here. Alright, so I've labelled the front 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm just going to label this back corner 5 and this one 6. Okay, so like we did here with all perspective drawings, you bring your sight line from the spectator directly up to the point in question. Okay, I'm going to do it on both sides, I will do them together. And just to show, we don't actually need both sides when they're on the same line, because one of them, once located, can be projected right across. So, as I said, for these sight lines, cross over our picture plane, that's then where we project the point up to the relevant edge. Alright, so that's here on the back edge. Now I know when I bring that line across, that's the back of the sculpture. So now I can go back over those lines slightly heavier. And slightly heavier here on the outside. Sorry, I'm a bit too heavy there at the back end. Okay. So the next thing for me, really, we already have these points 5 and 6 back here. Okay. Next thing for me, I want to find this front edge, if you like, of the back column or row going across here. So likewise, I'm going to pick this point on the outside here, back to my spectator, and again where that crosses the picture plane, so you're following the same steps every time with each individual point. Bring it back up to the corresponding edge, which is on the outside here, and that then gives you a line across the back. So that represents this portion here, as you see it on the plan view. Now, so we know these lines can be covered in that bit heavier, or back to the vanishing point like so. And one thing I do have to do here is just drop down the vertical edge of the slab from this point, and likewise on this side. And again, that will show the front edge done of the back slab as you see it there. And then just join it back again, as I said. Cover it in that bit heavier. And that clearly shows the outline of your perspective view of the structure here, if you like. Alright, we can see that we have our paving slabs here, the joints crossed on them, for example. Alright, so those lines and these heights do need to be transferred up here in order to replicate it exactly as the perspective view would appear. So what I'm going to do here, in this case, I'm just going to project that center line up on both sides, just onto this front edge here at the top of the slab, and likewise over here. Once it's that point located, bring it back to the vanishing point, and likewise on the other side. And that now is giving your center line right up through the length of the paving slabs here. And the next thing and the final thing I need to do is to locate these sections here, the depth of them as I go from the front back. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pick these points from the outside. Alright, starting at the front, draw your line to the spectator, and again project up where that line, the sight line, crosses the picture plane, and up onto the corresponding view on the edge on the outside, and that line simply is transferred across here. Okay, next one up, and so on until you have them all done right up to the back. Okay, so now that I have each of those steps put in, so again draw from your spectator to the point in question up along this edge. Where those sight lines cross the picture plane, project them up onto the corresponding edge and draw your line horizontally. And now each of those staggered joints here I just have to draw in place also, and then that is this question complete. So all in all, that's your T4 exercise on 1 point perspective complete. So again, just to go back over that, for every point you pick on the plan, basically in this case, draw a line from your spectator where that sight line crosses your picture plane. That then is where you project up perpendicular, as you see here, so all must be perpendicular to the picture plane onto the relevant edges up here, and that in turn will give you your perspective view as requested on the question. Just one more thing here, you may return or may not return these edges here. Could be returned, I'll do it on one side, down vertically, just to show the joint on the side of the slab there. All in all, it's a nice question, and that's it complete as it would appear.